Good morning, guys, and welcome to the podcast. From Atlanta, Georgia, I have Lorrie Thomas Ross, and she is known as the marketing therapist. And she founded web marketing therapy to get great organizations on the right path to marketing success. So today's talk is all going to be about marketing, and I'm really happy to have her on and pick her brain. Lorrie, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, briefly chronicle your journey, and we will dive into the questions.
Okay, brief. 1999 kid plucked out of my luxury retail career. I've sold banner ads. I've been anything from acquiring customers, affiliate marketing, website marketing, all of those things. It was a wacky, wild time. And the beauty of that is that I got to watch the industry really grow, bomb, and rebuild. And while I joke that I'm a recovering salesperson, I love marketing because it supports the process. And I'm someone that used to have kind of a unhealthy relationship with sales and marketing. And as I began to teach, and that was a huge blessing. And for me in my career, I was teaching at UC Santa Barbara and UC Berkeley through their extension programs, mostly corporate employees and business owners. They would have those feelings of just, oh, marketing, or oh, and we would just talk about like, why do we feel this way? How can we break down these unhealthy feelings about marketing and sales? And how can we have breakthroughs? Because what I believe wholeheartedly is that every organization, large, small, new, old, for-profit, nonprofit, has a place and space thanks to this wild, wonderful web world. But we have to go back to what marketing is about. And if you look up the definition of marketing, and I used to teach this as part of my career path, if you Google the definition of marketing, you still see a definition that says the act of pushing products and services or pushing and promoting. So that instantly creates feelings of, even as you're introducing me for the interview today, I thought, oh my gosh, please listeners, stay on. Marketing isn't horrible. This is actually going to have value for you. There is this stigma about marketing, and it is because of the way that we define it in its history. But if we look at marketing instead as the act of educating and connecting with ideal audiences, that begins to reframe the way that we approach marketing, because it suddenly becomes more altruistic. It doesn't become this self-serving, yucky thing. It becomes very solution-centric. And so I remember vividly standing in my classroom at Berkeley, and my students was right before the final projects were due the week before, and we went from having this delightful class and everyone's making progress to I'm so nervous, like how do I sell this to my boss, or how do I go back and what's my project? And I was like, let's think about what we need to help our audiences understand. And the answer started to emerge, and we had this delightful conversation about whatever the organization was. And those answers become the solutions to how to think about and approach marketing. Cut to having big director of marketing jobs and all of that. And I had one of those moments where I had no business plan, no nothing, but I just knew in my heart that I wanted to help great leaders. And living in Santa Barbara, California at the time, there were a lot of fabulous entrepreneurs that were relocating to that area. And I was just enamored with people that operated with passion and purpose, that didn't treat their jobs like jobs, but had this career mindset, this growth mindset. And I found that I could align my value as a web marketer with my values, and my value people. I value relationships. I value healthy life. And so, yeah, I left the confines of corporate hell in 2005 and started my own agency and never looked back, which was just amazing. And being able to do what I do today and work with really great leaders, and it's all industry agnostic. The common thread is that all the leaders are intentional.
Very interesting introduction. And what I really love is there's this saying that all businesses is marketing and sales. And so when clients come to you, what are they looking like? What are they frustrated with or fed up with, or what are they trying to achieve to come and get to work with you?
So many different things prompt folks to come. Sometimes it is frustration. Sometimes it's we just don't get a great response from what we're doing. Sometimes it's I don't even know if I'm spending money in the right places. We also have clients who are doing everything right, and they come to us and they say, we're doing everything right. Now what? And we're able to advise that way. Our approach, we don't even have a services page on our website. We have a solutions page, and it is about listening and understanding and being able to guide an audience or a team or a particular leader. And so we have an approach, and very true to web marketing therapy, we diagnose, prescribe, and guide. And what we do, even in the getting to know each other, should we work together process, is mapping out observations and recommendations. And what that prospective client gets out of that is education, which is our core of what we believe in. I'm a business owner. I want to empower other business owners. And so I approach things with here's some need to haves, here's some things you really need to do. And that once you do them, we don't talk about them in 5-10 years. But then there's also the nice to haves. And the nice to haves are here's the big stuff. And that simple act of prioritization. And so why do people come to us? For so many reasons, but sometimes it is to have that leadership of, what should I be doing? Like, here's what I am spending. Should I be spending more? Could I be spending less? Sometimes it's, we have an employee that needs help and they need training. And so we're able to come in and level that person up with training. But looking at really having a clear plan of things to focus on based on that unique leader's goals and objectives, that helps to get everyone on that right path to success.
Yeah, interesting. Another question I have for you is, in today's day and age, where are organizations failing? Like, what is their number one mistake that they're making with their marketing efforts? Because you've got TV, radio, you have print, you have digital, artificial intelligence, social media. So where are people going wrong here?
Not looking at marketing holistically. There's the visibility components, whether it's your Roku ads or your Google ads or your search optimization, social media, video. And I look at the sales funnel, right? This is old school, right? It's awareness, communication, connection, service. All of those support sales. And when we're so focused on the act of doing marketing, but we're not really thinking about what happens when someone comes in, or are we working with clients that are really great? What's our customer lifetime value? It's looking at the whole picture. And in the name of relationships, which is why I continue to do what I do all these years later, I love to help my clients get super clear on not only what their value is, but their values and who their best students, if you will, are. When I was in the classroom, we were always guided to teach to the smartest students in the room. And whether, you're practicing medicine or practicing law or a consultant, you need to be thinking about who your ideal clients are, because that's what we have to focus on. And there's that often that myopic, like, we just need more leads. We need quality leads. And that alone can change and refine and streamline the way that money is being spent, time is being spent. Another mistake I see is marketing done out of a place of fear. Like, I have to be doing marketing. I have to keep paying this SEO company. What are you getting from them? I don't know. They're just doing SEO. They don't tell me. That's a relationship problem. If your vendor is not educating you, or even your employee can't educate you on why they're doing something, we have to respect ourselves as leaders. And we always say at Web Marketing Therapy, our clients either need to be doctoring or lawyering or consulting. They need to do what they do best, but they also need folks who can do the rest, but can also say, here's what's going on. Let me educate you. Or, I know we're busy. When you have time next week, let's talk for 20 minutes so we can show you this idea. And it's not from a place of, it's from a place of love, but leaders have to love themselves too. And that is where respect is absolutely required. And I see a lot of oppressive contracts. We do a lot of uncoiling from things like that. Sometimes marketing companies, they focus so heavily on sales and then they forget about service. And then we come in and we're advising, and these vendors are like, oh, we're awake now. We're paying attention. That's what you're supposed to be doing. It's all a matter of making sure that there's efforts being made that are bringing ideal relationships into the container of our businesses.
Mhm. And how are you helping clients understand artificial intelligence and where this falls into their marketing strategy and plans?
AI is a great accelerator. And we always say that AI does not replace the human brain, but it can be that virtual sparring partner if you need. If you're like, I just did this great interview and I need help writing social captions. It's guiding our clients on how to give prompts, how to critically evaluate what they're doing, but finding ways to help them, and it's often not the leaders themselves, but the teams, leveraging the power of AI to just get over that blank document fear, or getting something and going, like the days of, I think about the 90s when I could turn my Aeron chair around and ask my coworker to look at something. Now I can run it through AI and say, I just got this testimonial. I feel like it's a little too wordy. Can we edit it down, but keep the exact messaging intact? Sure. And suddenly you've got this virtual companion, but you still need the human's brain cells to look at that and go, I wouldn't say that. I'm planning a retreat with some of my entrepreneurs in a forum I'm in. And a lot of the recommendations we got from AI were businesses that weren't even in place anymore. We have to think. But yeah, the acceleration of idea collaboration, just getting over that fear of what do I say? It's psychology. Whether you're looking, like you might get something from AI and go, I wouldn't say it that way. But the fact that you're even doing it means that you're 80% past that anxiety of not doing it right.
Interesting. And how do you help clients, for example, like doctors or just these traditional with social media? Because a lot of doctors, they don't know how to use social media. How are you helping clients understand this new form of marketing and advertising?
We are very thoughtful about social media, and it's about quality content and not quantity. Sometimes it becomes a space where people feel very safe and may send a lot of personal information. And so we have processes in place with staff where we'll say, you need to be manning the chats, or we create an automatic response that will say, thank you. We encourage you to use the website or call us. There's always projects and processes and systems. And with social media, it is a wonderful way to share information, to empower current and prospective patients, but it's also a way to share great news. It's social. It's people love to see pictures of the team, or if you're sponsoring a baseball game, or if you're involved in community service or have a table at some conference. That's the kind of stuff that shows your audience that you're invested in continually educating. And bonus round, LinkedIn, especially for our doctors. They're like, do I need to care about LinkedIn? I'm like, yeah, because your personal brand is such a critical piece of your marketing puzzle. And so taking that work off of a doctor's plate of, we can interview you, we're going to make sure your LinkedIn profile is optimized so it's really clear. A lot of times it's, oh my gosh, I haven't updated that for 5 years, or I've won these awards, or I've done these additional courses, or now I'm teaching or guest lecturing. And it's finding the things that make us interesting and sharing that. And also, so I'm a big believer in the power of personal branding. I am also old school, and that I wholeheartedly believe that a blog is the nucleus of social media marketing, where a lot of social agencies don't believe that. They're like making your cute little, it's happy, hug your bumblebee day. And I'm like, who the bleep cares, right? We don't need to post that stuff. Like there needs to be substance in our posts. When you're blogging, you're creating really value rich content that's educational, relevant, sometimes entertaining, but that content gets picked up in the search engine. So you're building your SEO, and you're multitasking with, what do I post on Facebook or LinkedIn, or I need a caption for Instagram. A well-written blog post can very easily get shared, not only once, but it can become a post that gets shared again and again, multitasking, not just for your credibility, but also for your visibility, which supports your sellability. When we're supporting our clients with social media, is very focused on quality content creation, and doesn't have to be gobs and gobs of it, but just really well architected, well written, thoughtful content that's not only on brand, but it's on purpose. And then that can become content that's shared, and just being available for our clients. I get the texts of, I'm at this big conference, or I forgot to tell you I'm at this luncheon and we specialize in women's health and we're doing this. Those are the things that we share. And there's the old saying that if you want to be interesting, be interested. We also have to remember that if we want our audience to be interested in us, we are allowed to be interesting, and you can do it in a way where you're not bragging and it's not egocentric, but it's truly educational. And that's where we come in. We help break down that like fear or anxiety, or whether it's making that photo look a little bit better before it goes live or something like that. We've even done things where I've had staff say, I'm really embarrassed I wore jeans to that event. And we're like, great, we'll put you in black pants before we post that picture. But whatever it takes to represent the practice in the best way possible.
Interesting. Because you mentioned blogs, and it's really interesting. It's sounds like blogs serve a very defined audience. Before there was like Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, people were on blogs. And where do the newsletters come in, and where does video content and podcasts come in this area? Because you mentioned blogs, so I'm just curious. Like long form curated content, highly valuable.
Yes. So I look at all content as content, whether it's email, newsletter, blog, website copy, video. The saying content is king is not even. Content is the whole kingdom. And great content, and this is where our creative brains come in, is leveraging that great video. That great video is great to watch, but that text can also inspire a blog post that might require a little more research, but the video can be embedded into the blog post. So it's living on YouTube. It's also on the blog. It might get embedded into a web page. It might get spliced into some shorts for Instagram Reels. Looking at repurposing. So I live in Atlanta now. I'm a California crunchy West Coaster originally. I love recycling for the planet. I love recycling for content. And so many times we're sitting on really valuable content and we may think, oh, I wrote that blog post 5 years ago. That blog post might be what inspires you to do a quick video, or it might be something that gets storyboarded for a video crew, could inspire a pitch for a podcast, there's so many things that creative content can inspire, even things like testimonials, whether it's the Google review, the Facebook review, those can become really beautiful Instagram graphics that can also get sized for Facebook or LinkedIn. And it's just having proactive people on the team that can come up with this content that keeps the visibility strong and keeps the connectivity out there. And another thing to note is that in our industries, right? I feel like some industries, maybe more like fashion brands, celebrities, they're going to get a lot more likes. In with medical law, things like that, I like to remind my clients that we're not Kardashians and we're not going to have 20,000 hearts in shares, but people are still seeing our content. And I have clients who will say, I know you pushed me to do more on LinkedIn. And people said to me at the conference, I really like the stuff you're posting. Even though I'm not getting tons of little thumbs up, people are seeing that. And it's just reminding people that you're out there, and that is part of our positioning. It's building credibility. It's reminding our audience that we're there. We also want to find that fine line where we're not over posting, because we don't want to also look desperate. And that's sometimes I do interventions. And I've had practices where I'm like, I love that your front desk is really excited to make happy National Bumblebee Day pictures, but it looks like you're not working enough, right? You want to find that balance. So quality versus quantity.
Interesting. And if people wanted to learn more from you or connect or work with you, how can they do that?
I'm very Googleable. Lorrie Thomas Ross. My company's web marketing therapy, and there's no one else called that. So we're very easy to find.
Yeah, excellent. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I love your enthusiasm and your passion and your expertise, and keep up the great work.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.